Yes, guys, welcome to episode number I don't even know of the Coach Approach podcast. And today we are going to be talking about the things we hate in the fitness industry.
What a great introduction that was. We
That's
didn't
my
need to go
first time
we
listening.
didn't need to go into the topic just yet. You just needed to go, guys, welcome to the Coach Approach podcast with Phil and Dom, your favorite I was going to say
Flower
favorite.
pot man.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I was going to say favorite brown men because we're both very, very tanned.
Yeah, yeah. Have you been away again since I last saw you? I think you just got back from
Nah, I
Dubai last
managed
week.
I'm holding on to the tan pretty well to be fair. Um
You Stallion, that's why.
Yes, mate. Yeah, yeah. But how are you, mate? For people that are listening, we just were trying to catch up just before, but we're like, let's just save it. I haven't been able to contact Phil for like about 2 weeks because he's been
No,
head down.
what I was literally about to say before we said let's just catch up on the podcast was I have been man down for about 2 whole weeks, bro. I don't know what kind of virus I've had, but I'm coughing, so tired, trying to and still trying to work while feeling like that as well. And I think that's why it's just dragged on for so long because I've just, like you said, had my head down, still working, but mate, it's been non-stop all while trying to recover.
Yeah, so you started obviously the PT course, didn't you? So the PT
Yeah.
qualification whilst you were like dying to the world.
Yes, mate. I was so ill, bro. I had to apologize to everyone that came because I was like, look, I'm good. Like, the last thing I want to do is make anyone ill, first of all. But I could barely even talk, bro. And I had to teach a whole course for 4 hours.
Was it in a is it in a classroom or what's it like?
Yeah, it's classroom based, but we have a gym as well with all the equipment we need as well. And the first course was really good, bro. I actually really enjoyed it. It was quite weird, sort of being in like the teacher role, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it was like it's really good, and it's when you get out of your comfort zone, that's what you like most about it because the thought of doing things like that out of your comfort zone can be quite daunting. But then once you've done it, you're like, oh, I actually really enjoyed that. So
Mm.
anyone listening, if there's things that you want to do that are a little bit out of your comfort zone, do it because once you actually do it and get past that point of fear, and you take on what you fear, you feel so much better after. You just feel so much more confident.
Yeah. It, this is only going to build you up as a coach, as a educator as well. I've got it on my vision board to be in front of people presenting as well. Like that's on my screensavers. It's one of the photos that I've got that because I want to do that as well. I want to be up on the stage presenting, even though it scares the fucking shit out of me. Um, but yeah, fair play for you. When you
What's the biggest crowd you've ever spoken in front of?
the biggest crowd. God, I think we're talking about back at university now. Must be back at uni, like my whole class, like 50 of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what about you?
It's one of the scariest things you can do, isn't it?
Oh mate, I
Um,
was sweating. I could see the sweat patches coming on underneath my armpits, mate. I was stumbling
yeah,
my
yeah.
words.
I
Um,
remember a few years ago I was working for a nutrition company and I was doing quite well quite soon into it. So I'd only been like working alongside them for like 6 months. And I got a call from one of the event organizers. They were like, "We're seeing the amount of volume that you're doing, blah blah blah. Do you mind taking a section at our next event in London in Heathrow?
oh,
Really,
shit.
a really nice hotel." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll do it." As soon as I got off the call, I was like, "Why did I just say yeah?" Bro, it was like 700 or 800 people, and I had to do a 30-minute section talking about the supplements and what each one does.
How many
What they
people?
700 to 800 for 30 minutes. And
Fuck
on the
me.
way there, bro, I felt like I was driving myself to my own funeral. It was horrendous.
Yeah, that beats my 50. Jesus. Well, you got plenty of practice. A classroom of people trying to be a PT should be fucking piece of cake.
Yeah, that's it. But I hadn't done it for a while, to be fair. But
The more you do
uh,
it, the more you get more confident in
like
that role.
training the gym, you build those muscles to and confidence the more you do it. So,
Confidence is a muscle. I said that on a check-in about 3 weeks ago, actually.
oh really?
Confidence is a muscle, mate, that you got to keep training.
Mm,
Um,
definitely. What's
yeah,
new with
but
you?
what's new with me? Whew, I tell you what, I've been so busy. I mean, like, Yeah, not really, not in that way, but I'm just doing the same stuff every single day. So, there's not much that changes in my life apart from coaching,
Mm.
education, 12-week program started. Um, there's nothing that I do I walk my dog every day. A lot of people I think that online coaches just have so much time on their hands. They do all of this stuff. They're off doing whatever. Mate, I sit on this desk 9 hours a day, 6 days a week
Funnily
nearly.
enough, I would like our previous rule before, we won't mention any names, but I was talking to an online coach yesterday who sort of said that like he's looking to he's really successful. You know him as well, but he's a successful online coach. But we were talking about the different directions that we're looking to head in the future. And he sort of said that like with online coaching, you actually have to dedicate so much time
Mm,
uh, to a client, which can even be more time than you'd spend with someone doing one-to-ones with someone in the gym, especially if you're getting competition ready. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't doubt that you're probably just glued to the laptop all day.
Yeah, glued to the computer, and this it pisses me off that people or some coaches try and I remember seeing a coach from Eastbourne. This is about 3 years ago. He was in a swimming pool, took a photo. I wasn't following this particular person, but he took a photo in a swimming pool and go, "This is the life." Replying to clients when I'm in the pool and a cocktail in hand. I was like, "Mate, fuck off, geez. That's not how you should coach. Like that's not how you run a business. You can't run a business from a swimming pool with a cocktail in hand. Absolutely."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is dedication to a brand, a company. It's your own. Like I put everything all into this. Like to run a successful coaching business, you have to have a stable environment. You've got to have a routine. You've got to be, I treat this like a 9 to 5 job. Absolutely. Like
Mhm.
I'll eat and train and go for a walk at the same time. I have my lunch break, 12 till 1. Slightly different today because of the podcast, which it gives me that flexibility to do so if I need to. But I treat this as, I've got my coffee break. I have my meal free at 3:30. Everything's very regiment. Um, but yeah, for anyone who's listening who might be wanting to do online coaching, it is a full-time job. So don't think that you can just be traveling and having loads of fun. I have loads of fun coaching because I love doing what I do, but it's
Means
not.
you have to like prep for that as well. You need to make sure like everyone's set up ready for your time away. They need to know that they've got an action plan. They need to know that you might be a little bit less responsive. So having things in place and programs in place and what they might have to do themselves over like the next like week or two
Mm,
before they go away. But so yeah, people just think it's just like, oh yeah, go away when I want, do barely any work, but it's definitely not the case.
no, not at all. Oh, there is a bit of thing. I might be moving to Dubai at some point. Poss
Really?
Possibly, I'm not sure yet. It's something that's in the pipeline. We went on holiday there, and I always thought of Dubai as obviously everyone's just partying, doing nothing. But being there and seeing my friends that live there, they're grafting, they're working, they're around the incredible people, entrepreneurs, business minds. Um, and I'm like, to grow for myself as a coach, I'd love to be in this environment. The weather helps as well, but when I spoke to my mates, they're doing exactly the same as what I'm doing here, but they're around amazing people. So I'm like, oh, me and Naomi are thinking about possibly moving out at some point, or
So Naomi gonna go with you, yeah?
yeah, yeah, and the dogs trialing it anyway. So that's definitely on the cards because I want to be around incredible coaches and incredible people and just to keep expanding and building this coaching business that I have. So that's probably the newest change I would say in my own business, in my own life. Um, but yeah, we should really get into the topic, shouldn't we?
Yes, mate.
Would you like to
I'll
introduce the
ruin
topic again?
I'll ruin the surprise by saying it too early and what our topic was going to be about today. But
So
today's is on things that we dislike about the fitness industry.
I put it a bit more stronger. Things that we fucking hate about the industry. I write on my notes.
Is that what you wrote?
Yeah, I was like, fucking, mate, I could list off loads of stuff, but I'm going to stick to the main point. Should we do one each per person? Yeah.
Let's go. You're going to go first.
All right. So number one, I hate. Oh, which one should I pick first? I'll pick it pretty easy. So it actually kind of goes into what we were just talking about. How easy it is to become an online coach these days. It's unregulated, unmanned. Anyone can put online coach on their bio. Um, and that can put a bad name onto our industry because you've got kids, you've got or anyone just going online coach, not knowing what the fuck they's actually doing and coaching people. Um,
Hmm.
which again, it can be good, it can be bad, but you know, you see so many people just popping up out randomly, going right, yeah, I train, and now I'm going to start coaching people and charge more than what I'm even charging, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what are you
And
talking about, mate?
that is literally, so I've numbered most of mine from like just little things to like the worst things, and that is almost top of
Yeah.
one of my worst ones, which is uh lack of personalized approach, but slash people claim to be online coaches when they're not.
It's
Um
it's a difficult one, really, isn't it? Like, you know, this is. I mean, I was a PT first. I got the qualification online. You know, you're gonna have you start somewhere. Don't get me wrong. I was a fucking shit PT and I was a shit online coach. But I do feel it needs to be regulated because I think there are a lot of really bad coaches out there that put a bad name to it, and people will go to them thinking that's what online coaching is when it clearly isn't.
and not even just that, yeah. So uh again, this isn't to like out anyone or anything like that, but we're
No.
teaching level 2 and 3 personal training, and I've had people inquire into our personal training course who have no qualifications, but they're online coaches. So there's people who are online coaches who, like you mentioned, have online coach in their bio, but they've not done one bit of learning
Mm,
to even get qualified. Just trained a few years in the gym, might naturally have a good physique, or maybe had a coach themselves in the past, but that still doesn't qualify you to be able to help people. You wouldn't go to a barber who doesn't have a barbering qualification. You
unless you're in
wouldn't,
lockdown.
unless you're in lockdown, yeah. Or if you're a girl, you wouldn't go and get lip fillers done by someone with no qualifications.
Yeah,
So
fucking good example that.
it's the exact same thing with this as you've got people saying that they're online coaches with no qualifications, no knowledge on actually how to program or different styles of training or different specific needs, how to tailor things to different clients or how to even do a PAR-Q,
Mm.
but it's giving people online programs.
Mate, yeah, it's qualification. I do think there needs to be a qualification in online coaching. But I don't know if that will ever come around. But more and more coaches are popping up because they're thinking, as what we were saying before, they think we do nothing. They think we're just on holiday all the time when it really isn't. And then what happens, and I've had people, funny enough, come from people that have just started coaching and gone, I had this really bad experience. I did this, did that. But they think it's just a training plan or just a nutrition plan from, you know, whoever's just started the coaching when it's so much more than that. And I'm like, look, this is not how coaching is. This is how we do it. This is how you're gonna do this. This is the phases. This is the roadmap. We're gonna try assessment weeks. I'm gonna see where your food is at. We're gonna really tailor the approach. You know, fresh online coaches that have no qualification or no education. Even mate, I'm 5, 6 years into this and I'm still learning every day. Just before this podcast, I was on another educational call. Like you can't just literally say I'm an online coach with literally not and thinking you know it all.
Mhm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then just as like a little subsection of that, obviously you got online coaches doing that. Would this sort of come under like again, I had as a bracket the online coach thing, but lack of personalization could also be like AI as well. Um,
Didn't have that.
doing programs, doing programs, but again, there's not really much personalization there. Um,
I did an
all,
email about this last week actually about Chat GPT or PT.
Mhm.
Um, so many people still to this day, and I did a post about this, ask me for a training plan or just a nutrition plan. I was like,
Yeah, so
go to Chat GDP, just do it, honestly. But the same people that have been asking me for training plans and nutrition plans who have done Chat GDP are still now asking me, I need you to make me a meal plan. I need you to do a training plan. So I reply to them going, okay, Chat GDP told you to do a lat pull down. They say yes. I go, okay, I'm going to tell you to do a lat pull down. What's the difference?
mm,
What's the honestly? And they're like, so I'm like, right. So that's not coaching, is it?
exactly.
Coaching is coaching. For example, let's just think of the training. I get training footage. I look at their logbook. I look at their intensity. I look at the volume. I look at their recovery. Can AI do that? No.
Hmm. Absolutely. And that's why I kind of put those two things together because with a bad online coach and just getting a program done online is pretty much just the same thing, apart from with an online coach, you'll just be paying triple the amount.
Yeah, yeah, mate. Well, a lot of the programs that I say the meal plans that you can get on ChatGDP are decent. They're good. They're fucking good. But it doesn't help you when you need to adjust things based on stress, based on sleep, based on, what's coming up at the weekend? How are you going to manage this diet approach? Or should we do a fasting for 8 hours, eating 16 hours not? Shall we try keto for X period of time? Should we do low carb, high carb because this is happening? It doesn't give you that instant response and that one-to-one interaction. And to be honest, mate, I have a lot of banter with my clients. I have a lot of fun having good laughs about the football, good laughs about, I've got a client who dances. We just take the piss out of the dancing. Like, there's a lot of things that you have interaction with.
ChatGPT can't exactly do that, can it? Take
No,
the piss out. Dancing.
not at all. I don't think AI will take over at all, and I don't think that's. I think. Oh wait, what was your question? That AI could help what?
I don't even know because you've just asked me a completely different question to what I asked. Now you throw me off.
Oh, mate, I thought you were talking about how AI could be taking over in terms of coaching. Um,
No, it was more like the point that you've got online coaches just giving out programs, but AI does that as well. But with online coaches, they're just charging a lot more. That's basically the point I was getting at.
yeah, Fairs. I think, yeah, that's just what a shit coach does. An actual coach will delve into all the things that I just said,
Mhm.
and not if the client is like I've got clients that I'm struggling to get some stuff from them. I'm like, right, you're paying me. This is what you're paying me for to do better, to get a physique, to get
Schedule out their tasks and they don't give you, and their
yeah.
compliance is 10%
Yeah.
over the week.
Funny
You
enough,
don't.
I've got my brother. I'm coaching my brother. And if he is listening to this, if he does listen to this, but he's been shocking for the time that he's been working. He's not giving me enough information. I said, right, send me your photos. So 10 weeks in, I put his photos side by side. I went, you've made no change in 10 weeks.
Oh,
What you are
Fabio.
doing is not enough. You now need to do this at least minimum. I'm trying to meet him halfway by giving him really simple tasks. As like you can't just pay for me and not do what I'm asking and expect to have the change that you're looking for. So
Hmm.
I'm going. It's just proper ranty this podcast. I think this is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
riling me
That's
fucking right up.
I feel like this would be a good one to do though.
Um, should I go on to the next one?
Well, I haven't given mine yet.
Oh, okay, go.
Do you know what? This is like a really basic one, and I can't lie. I have been a culprit of this in the past,
Yeah.
but when I started working in a gym where we weren't allowed to say anything about it, that's what made me realize how fucking annoying this is. Yeah, people that leave the weights stacked up on their machines. That is one of the most annoying things. It's less about the fitness industry, but more like something that happens in the gym.
Yeah, when people don't put in performance, they've got if you can't put a weights around, if you can't put your weights away, ask one of the girls at reception and they'll do it for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that in a few gyms, but mate, I worked at David Lloyd's and we weren't allowed to tell people to put their weights away. So if they left them out, we weren't allowed to. So like they pay a really premium membership price, so we're not allowed to tell them to put their weights away. That's our job.
What?
At the end of the night, every single squat rack, every single bench, both leg presses, all the row machines would be stacked on with plates and no one would put any away. Some of the benches they'd have all the plates on the bench and then loads of plates around the bench where people would just like took other people's plates off and gone and put theirs on. There'd be 20 plates around on the floor, 10 plates on the bar, and you'd have about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to put every single plate away in order. And that was the bane of my life.
Fuck. David Lloyd would tell you not to. Oh, mate, that's just because. Oh, they're paying so much, so you need to do it all. I mean, that's just gym manners to put your weights away. I find that more in commercial gyms, and
Mhm.
like this is not pointing anyone out or anything, but people who are okay, not in shape are the ones that don't put anything away. The people that I find that are in shape are always putting their weights away. They're always being respectful to the next person.
Or
Um,
do you know what I've told some of my clients before, yeah? Because I've had it before where they'll finish their set and they'll just, for example, they'll have 5 plates each side on a leg press. when they're done, they'll just watch me put all the plates away on both sides while they just stood there. So I've started telling people, uh, putting your weights away is part of your workout as well. That's part of what you do in the gym. So don't just stand there and watch me do it. It's part of your workout as well.
I do the opposite. I actually do the opposite. I I did that. I did a different approach to that. I did all the weights for him
You did all the weights for them.
all the time.
I I do depend. Do you know what? It will be depending on what weights they are. If there's a girl like on a leg press and they got to do the 25 plates, I'll do all of those. But
Yeah.
if it's like a little 5 kg, I'm like, right, do you mind doing that side? I'll do this one. It saves
Fucking
time. It saves time as well.
fucking some of the clients were like, "No, you do it because that's what I'm paying you for." I was like, "Yeah, sound."
And yeah, if someone did say that to me, I probably would say like, yeah, cool, yeah, you are
You
right.
want to
But
save all their energy for the set. So I'm like, right, you just relax, you take a breath, you have a water, have a sip of your water, get in the zone, and we're gonna fucking push some heavy weight.
okay, I'm wondering how people ever manage to train on their own, and if that's your mindset.
Oh my God. Um, my next one is, I think this may be a personal thought from when I wasn't that big, but one thing I do hate about the industry is, but there is correlation to it. How big you are dictates how educated you are, which
Hmm.
there's truth and not truth into that. The reason I say that is because when I was skinny, I knew a lot of the same things than when I started to get big, but no one would take me seriously.
Hmm.
But they only started taking me more seriously when I started getting bigger and putting on size, which I understand as well. But I think I didn't really know too. Like, of course, my education increases all the time, but there was a lot of the same things I was telling them before when I wasn't as jacked. I mean, I'm not fucking absolutely jacked, but I'm all
Yeah,
right.
you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love you. Um, but yeah, your physique kind of dictates how knowledgeable you are.
People,
Like,
how people view you or not.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Even though it's wrong, and I remember when I was PTing, and I did a lot of biomechanics, so a lot of resistance training courses and how to move the body, how the joints should be aligned, the anatomy, and all that. It was going against a lot of what the guys on steroids were saying to some of the people that were like asking this and asking that. And some clients, when they were in the gym on their own, asked like one of the guys that's huge on steroids how they should do this. It's completely the opposite way I was telling them to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Can you give an example of what sort of things they would say, or can you not remember?
lat pull downs, rows, the shoulder pressing, all the main compounds, or the leg press as quick as possible. Don't worry about the
The thing is,
eccentric.
when you're on steroids, you can do it anyway, and you're going to get jacked.
Yeah, exactly. And it's again, it's an annoyance of mine because I think I still there is there's still this stigma of, how big you are, you definitely will know what you're doing. Well, sometimes that isn't always the case, but don't like I learn from all the big guys as well, like who are actually educated. I just think that I don't want to say size matters. It does and it doesn't, but it seems that even, the most knowledgeable guy in the room who's not as jacked as the guy who's just fully jacked up on steroids,
He'll be
they're
overlooked because the other guy
overlooked.
looks better or
Yeah.
has better muscles, or yeah, I understand that. Yeah, when in actuality, the more knowledgeable guy who might be skinny
Mm,
will take you further faster, regardless of how he looks.
mm, yeah. And if anyone listens to this, I've done Integra Education, which is a very high standard biomechanical course run by Michael Gordon in London. Obviously he's not going to listen to this podcast, but he's a really nice guy, the most knowledgeable person I've ever met in my life. He's short and fat, okay? But his knowledge is incredible. And all of the big educators in biomechanics would learn off him as well.
So this is an interesting question for you though, is like the way I see it is as a personal trainer or online coach, you should be an example to your clients by being the person that you're trying to get them to be. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So
Yeah.
how, from my point of view, it's like that guy might be knowledgeable, but how can he be fat and trying to teach in the fitness industry, regardless of his knowledge? Like,
Mate, he's tiny,
I
but
wouldn't want to go to an online coach who I knew was just eating shit, drinking, not training, but had loads of knowledge.
it's mental. It is mental. But a lot of people learn from him, mate, and he's been a staple in the fitness industry. Loads of people I know.
That's not to take away from any of his achievements, or
No,
it's
mate,
not.
no. He's like it's a hell of a lot of money to work to learn from him and some of his courses. Like I spent a good one to two, £3,000. His first course was
I
one
do
thousand
remember.
five hundred. Yeah, his first course was 1,500. Like it was incredible what he knew. But then if you looked at him, you would not think if you just saw him down the street, no way would he gym. No way would he think of all of the education that he knows. But he does. He's incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's cool, isn't it?
so yeah, that's kind of where I don't know. That was one of my pet peeves is, size does matter for sure. I think so, but I think it's not always about that completely.
Would you say so? This isn't really one of my questions, but just touching on something that you said that about how size matters. Would you say, obviously, you mentioned about performance enhancing drugs. Would you say the coaches or online coaches or personal trainers that use performance enhancing drugs have an advantage over coaches that don't because then they have the vascularity, the aesthetics, the muscle size. They look like they know what they're talking about, so that makes everyone watch him be like, oh, I'm gonna go for that guy because he's got more veins than that one, or he's got bigger, massive delts compared to him,
Yeah.
but they don't know. And that goes on to one of my points was one of the things I really dislike about the industry, which I know is something that you've spoke about maybe wanting to dabble in later on, but is performance enhancing drugs.
Hmm.
And the little bits I put next to it were not being open about it. Because you get a lot of coaches that aren't open about it, but they look insane. Not even necessarily insane, but they're massive, but they'll deny it to the ground. Um, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I've got that was my third point, steroid use and lies. There is so many people on something without telling people. Um, and I know this firsthand because I know people that get the steroids from someone I know. And I know that some people that have inquired with me who are not coaches have told me what they've done and they've asked for some advice and to be coached. And I couldn't because I don't know enough about it to be able to coach someone. I do know a lot, but I'm not confident enough to tell someone what to do exactly to then go on their Instagram and claim that they're natty or natural on a Q&A.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm like, it winds me up because there is such an unrealistic expectation now where I would say, honestly, 75 to 80% people you are on something.
It's
It's
meant to.
mental.
This is one of the reasons why I put it down as one of the things I don't like is the amount of young people that you see taking it now
Mm.
that have no reason to be taking drugs that strong, that powerful, that enhancing, that changes your body to that degree when you're still developing as a teenager in the instance that I'm trying to use. And uh I feel like there's more to it than just people wanting to be big. Um, which then goes on to one of my other points, which is there's an unrealistic standard and pressure to conform to certain body types, which I feel like is created by the industry because of performance enhancing drugs.
But yeah, I was literally just about to bring something up as well because there are so many people talking about peptides and MK77 and I think it's MK. I was just trying to find it. MK677 or something like that, I think.
Isn't
Uh,
that ashwagandha?
no, 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 it's not. But there are a lot of young 18, 19, 20 year olds using that. And I even delved into it. And I didn't do it myself, but I delved into it with my coach, who's an educator in steroids. And he goes, stay the fuck away from that. He goes, blood, I think it's MK677.
Is that what's called that new thing that's called Psalms or something like that?
Similar, but it's I need to find it. But there's this I can't find it. I can't remember where it is, but there's an MK something, and there's a big boom in it on online, and I see loads of young people doing it, saying do this, and they're getting jacked 100%. But there's so many side effects that come with that even my coach, when I was chatting to him about it and learning a little bit more, because that's what I do. I always speak to my coach about these types of things. He goes, mate, don't coach anyone on that. Don't
Mhm.
fucking let anyone do that. It messes up a hell of a lot of your bloods. Side effects are not worth it. All this type of stuff.
This is what
Uh,
people don't understand when it comes to those PEDs, whether it's like peptides or the stronger anabolics and stuff like that, is the effects it has on your body. That I also find that coaches who use it aren't open about that side of things, and they don't tell the clients of theirs that they're trying to get onto these steroids as well, about how bad they are for you physically, psychologically, and mentally as well.
mhm.
Um, and that is the thing I don't like about them, is the dishonesty about how bad these things actually are, regardless of how good they might make you look.
Yeah, there's a massive there's just a huge curtain over it where so many people are just so not open about it. And it puts an unrealistic expectation to people that see their Instagram or see their one of them is the transformations. The next one was transformations from steroids that
Mhm.
people think, oh my God, that looks amazing. However, he's pumped with a lot of drugs, but people
Yeah.
that are uneducated think that's realistic for a natural person. And I think people or coaches that do that, I'm not talking about the huge bodybuilders that are doing stage and stuff like that. Like I learn loads from them. I think they're incredible. But the regular kind of, I say regular coaches, but coaches that are transforming regular people through steroids and not saying it on the caption that this is what we've done to get to this point, rather than going, yes, this is an amazing look how amazing he looks in 16 weeks. Like, come on, like you're lying a lot to people of how you've done that, rather than, do you know what I mean? The steroid transformation. Um,
Absolutely. And do you know what else that sets, yeah, is an expectation from clients seeing someone's, like you just mentioned, 8, 12, 16 week transformation, and then someone who's quite a novice to the gym not getting the same result. And they're like, this person did that in 16 weeks. Why haven't I with you?
mhm.
And it all, like you just said, it sets an unrealistic expectation of what can be achieved in a short amount of time. Yeah, people can get really good results in a small amount of time, but that can be down to numerous factors: genetics, how well your body reacts to exercise and training and food and change of lifestyle. Um, but they just think, yeah, yeah, 3, 4 months I'm going to look like that Jack guy, and it
Mm.
doesn't happen. They get
I,
upset.
I've had clients asking me, "Oh, why is he looking like this, or why is that?" And I went, "Look, there's a lot of drugs going in that, and that is from transformations from other coaches in this
Mhm.
town and other towns." Going, I'm like, right, that's very unrealistic. I'm afraid, and they're not. And this is where the conversation. This is why my point has come across, because I've had a lot of coaches, a lot of clients that have said that and sent me a screenshot. I went, look, honestly, if you're a natural person, natural athlete right now, this is going to take time. We unless you want to go down the steroid route, and a lot of them like, oh no, 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 no. Then I'm like, right, we've just got to be patient, because doing it naturally does take a lot longer, unfortunately. Um,
100%.
but yeah, the steroid use was and the lies that go into it is a huge
So,
one, and I think it needs to be addressed more. Like when I eventually do, and this is something I will do, and I'm going to be doing a YouTube series on it, because I want to be educating people and showing people what can be achieved or what you can do or the side effects and everything I experience when I do eventually go on, because it's something I do want to explore for myself as a coach, not for other aspects. I'm just doing this purely from education and to help other people and to be able to help more people.
yeah, yeah. And really quickly before we go on to your next one, this was actually something that was separate to the performance enhancing drugs thing, but it's kind of fits with it as well. That's why I'm just going to add it onto the back of it now, is what comes as a result of those things is I've seen it myself. It impacts people's self-esteem. The fact that they're like, oh, I don't even look like that guy, and I've been training for 6 months. Social media pressures as well. Everyone sees like the ripped, jacked, muscly guy on Instagram, and they're not able to post similar pictures or have a similar sort of following. And the amount that impacts people mentally as well. Like they have to remove themselves from social media, or they get into a depression because they're comparing what people are doing unnaturally to what they're not able to do naturally.
Does it affect you?
Not one bit. Do
Really?
you know what? Not one bit, because, and this is what I tell people, my clients as well, yeah, is like there's been, and you've probably had this as well. in the past, yeah, I've had people send me a picture of a celebrity and say, I want that body. But you can tell that their body type is nowhere near close to what, even if they got in the best shape of their life, they'd still look nothing like that celebrity that they want to look like.
Hmm.
One thing I've been really good at telling myself always, even before training, and what I tell other people is don't worry about trying to look like someone else. Don't worry about trying to get that person's physique or Arnold Schwarzenegger's physique or someone who you sees competing physique. Be the best that you can, look the best that you can, and don't like just don't compare. I don't compare myself to anyone. And like you just mentioned, a lot of the time, a lot of the people that are comparing ourselves to, we got an eye for it because we know what to look out for. But a lot of the time, people are on steroids anyway. So, and I'll never compare myself to someone who's using drugs when I know that I never have and I never and I'm not at the moment, or and
Mm.
probably never will. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
I think you've got a really good approach to it. Me personally, I do struggle. I struggle quite a bit. I actually said this again on an email list like a couple of weeks ago on my to my email subscribers. I went a bit personal with like that's something I do struggle myself. You know, I mean, we're in the industry, mate. We see it a lot, so I understand how other people can see it. Sorry, my dog's like licking the microphone. Calm down. Just wants to go on my lap. Yeah, I struggle a lot personally, and I have to really find myself to switch off. Like I try not to be too much on Instagram. I try not to see too much because for me to see where I am, which is still good, like I am happy where I am, but you're always, in my opinion, it's just a deep hole to go into, and I struggle with wanting to be more compared to seeing other people. And I
Hmm.
think as well, you know, and this is no envy to anyone that does steroids, by the way, because I have friends that do it. I have, you know, my coach does it. I learn from the best that do it. You know, when you see someone who's half the size of you then do a 6 month course and now is 3 times the size of you, it makes you sometimes question my own coaching or my own physique because I'm like, fuck's sake. And then some people can look at that and go, well, how are you not that big that quick? And I'm like, well, I'm not taking steroids.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it gets, and it's always making me like, oh, you know, I'm really fucking, I wish I could do more. I wish I could have more. So that heart, that cuts deep sometimes. And then, yeah, you know, I know someone who was 10 times smaller than me and now is about, you know who it is. I won't say it on the podcast. Is now 10 times bigger than me, competes.
Whisper it, whisper it, whisper it. Oh no, but
No,
no.
no, no. But then also trying to be online coaching and I've been called out indirectly with some of the shit that I say because clients have sent it to me by now people that were 10 times smaller than me, but over the course of a year or two now is 10 times bigger than me and now think they know everything there is to do
Hmm.
with coaching and training when it's a slippery slope this industry.
And then one thing another note that I added again on the back of that is the roid rage that you get from performing, which I have seen with a few people,
Mm.
but like firsthand, how
Hmm.
that affects their mood, irritability, their anger levels as well, in the gym as well. Again, won't.
I think it needs to be controlled. Like I know so many people that do it and are absolutely fine. They are on top of their blood work. They're doing all the supplements. Their psychological, their mindset is in a good place. This is why, you know, my own coach is very good with this. He is always checking, right? You know, if when we do it, we're going to check that you're psychologically ready for it. We're going to be doing your markers. We're going to be doing this, all this type of stuff. Well, some people will just jump on straight away and without no guidance, you know, no supplements to counteract other stuff. You know, they're already in a shit place and think steroids is going to help them get into a better place when it can actually further deepen their depression, for example. Um, so I do think there is that roid rage is made from people that just don't manage it well at all, rather
Mhm.
than it being a worldwide thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's my take on that. And like I said, I hopefully will be experiencing it soon, and I'll be able to let you all know if I get angry or not.
You're already angry anyway, so it's just going to exacerbate that.
um, or should we go to the next one? Do you want to go for the next one, or shall I go?
Uh, so I feel like, yeah, no, yeah, you go for the next one. I feel like, yeah, mine was. mine was the last one, but I added so much onto the back of that as well. But yeah, go on.
So one of them for me, I don't know if you see it as much because I'm always online because obviously my job is online. But at the moment, there's a real big trend over the last 6 to 8 months of coaches calling out coaches
Oh
indirectly,
my God,
doing all that type of stuff.
that is literally the one that I circled to put that to
Hey,
yeah.
we're on the
Mine
same wave.
mine is coaches putting down other coaches online to make themselves look better
Yeah.
slash competition.
I think it's
One of the
terrible.
things I hate about it,
Yeah.
there's never been there's never been an instance in the gym where I'll use an example again without making it obvious who I might be talking about or using any names, but there was a coach that I saw who was doing inductions, and they're quite young kids, but you could kind of see that he was teaching exercises they didn't know how to coach. So what one of these coaches that we're talking about might have done is then go online and talk about how bad they saw a coach trying to teach someone or uh something along those lines, as whereas I went up to him when he was on his own and I said, oh, I saw you coaching this guy today. Do you want me to show you how to do that exercise? And then I made him go home and write a list of exercises that he's unsure on how to coach. And if I could help him with them, I did. And I went around all the machines, all the exercises he did, so I can give him some cues on how we can work on them better next time. But I've also seen examples of
Nice.
where coaches are seeing other coaches in that same position and just blasting them online.
Mm,
Or they'll see that a client who's getting coached by another coach is wearing shoes when doing a squat or something, they'll blast them online and stuff
mm,
like that. Like, why not go and correct that coach
mm.
instead of blasting them online? But yeah,
I think
what did you have to add to that?
I think you handled it really well by doing that with what you just said. I think then there's just so much shit online now, mate. You know, indirect call outs, you know, the green screen where you see the face of someone and then there's another video behind of them saying how wrong this is. You know, the fitness industry is a lot of opinions anyway. Like, you know, there's a basic of foundational knowledge and a lot of it then will then just be opinions, I think. And I think
Mhm.
tearing down other people for no like just for your own benefit is just I don't know, I just don't like it. And I was getting sucked into that kind of content as well. And I needed to reel myself in a little bit. And I'm like, right, no, this is not who I want to be. I don't want to be someone who's calling out other coaches indirectly and stuff. I've been called out indirectly many a times by
Mhm.
coaches who are not doing as well as me, or bodybuilders that turn coaches who haven't got a coaching business, have maybe have got two clients and saying how wrong I am. Like
So,
it doesn't make
so
sense.
this is the thing with that, yeah, is I always find that the ones who are doing that stuff aren't being successful in it because they're too busy focusing on what everyone else is doing when they should just be focusing on what they're doing.
Mm.
And I feel
Yeah.
like people would be so much more successful, utilize their time so much better if they were focusing on themselves and not what other people are doing or what they might not be doing. Um, so, and again, I've seen examples of that. I've seen you getting called out. I can't remember who by or where, but
Yeah,
I
I
remember
mean,
us laughing about it before.
but it is what it is, you know. There's and that's where it comes from. Someone being bigger saying that I'm wrong when someone's only just really got into the industry. It's a funny old. It's a really funny industry at the moment in a weird space. Um,
The thing is, I do understand it as well because people see us or everyone outside of themselves as competition.
yeah.
So they see themselves, they see that, oh, if I shut him down, I'll be able to get more clients. But mate, there's enough for everyone.
Hmm.
Like unless you're competing against someone with a similar sort of niche, like the mate,
I don't think anyone should be tearing down anyone anyway.
no
You know,
one should be tearing down it. And I feel like there's one guy in particular who does it all the time, but he doesn't realize. Why are you laughing?
might
He
be the same person.
doesn't realize is it just makes him look like a knob to everyone.
Is it a he then?
Yeah, so he, yeah.
It's one of those things, yeah. And that was a big thing on my list is like shit coaches tarnishing. No, steroid. What was it? Yeah, everyone trying to out everyone on social media when they're a coach. Just look to add value. Look to be
Exactly.
yourself. Transform people's lives because I can also guarantee that one way will work. and another way will work. There are so many ways to an end goal. There is no, if you say this is the absolute way, well, then you're small minded because there are multiple roads to the destination that people are trying to achieve. Um,
Definitely.
yeah,
And again, so that was your one, but something again that was one of mine, but that can then come off the back of that one is people being made to feel different because of the style of training that they're doing. So you can go to a gym where they have one style of training, and I've been like I wouldn't call myself a victim of it, but if you want to call it that, I've been a victim of this exact behavior because of the way that I prefer to train compared to what the majority of and style of training that people like to train in said gym. Does that make sense? So they'll look at you and be like, "What, you're doing anything? Why are you doing like anything else than bench squats and deadlift? You don't need to do any of that little stuff." And it's like the majority of people that train in the gym aren't a powerlifter. They're not a bodybuilder. They're not a strongman. They're not like they're just examples of training styles. The majority of people just want to, just the average person that just want to go to the gym either just for good mindset, better
build a
like
bit of body fat,
athletics,
build a little bit of muscle.
drop a bit of body fat, drop like yeah, gain a bit of muscle. They don't want to just be like one type of way, if that makes sense. But there are people, and again, I've experienced it where people have been like, oh, "Why are you doing that? There's what the fuck's that going to do for you?" Do you know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
I
I
might just enjoy that.
Yeah, I had this. I was very I was very, what's the word? Narrow-minded with this back in the day. That I needed to treat everyone like a bodybuilder, and we're doing top sets and back off sets, and we're doing this, and we're not doing anything else. And you have to only do two sets. Anything more is just silly. And I grew out of that quite not quickly, but I was like, hang on a minute, people like let's challenge people. Let's do like loads of different ways of training. Let's do, loads of intensify sets, myo reps, drop sets, rest pauses. Let's do high rep range on a leg press, 25 reps, even though
Mhm.
optimally it's not probably the best way to train. Like a powerlifter would do like 5 reps, be broaden the horizon a little bit as well. I also do think you need to find like your particular way of coaching. For me, no, someone just asked me on my Q&A, do you do specific sport training? I said, no, that's not me. I do fat loss, muscle gain, photo shoot, possible stage. That's me. I'm not a power lifter, although I do some powerlifting like rep ranges for clients because they just want to get strong. I'm not someone that's doing sport specific or high rocks or anything like that. And there's no right or wrong approach to your fitness journey. It's what you prefer to do. That's
Absolutely.
and you should never have a go at anyone for having that. If you say you shouldn't do that, there's coaches going you shouldn't do that instead of this, then obviously they don't know what they're talking about. Are
Mhm.
there better ways? There's biases, yeah, for sure. Like my bias is bodybuilding, but also fat loss, muscle gain. Training like this and having fun. But it's not. I'm not going to set you up circuits and high rocks and classes and stuff like that. It's not my
Yeah,
style.
yeah. Again,
Uh,
that's why that one kind of came after coaches putting down other coaches because you see it on in comments on Instagram, Facebook, or where another coach has called out another coach because their training style is different to another coach's training style, so they feel like that it's my way or it's wrong. Does that
mm.
make sense?
It can be difficult for clients as well going for different coaches because they have different styles. And some coaches will swear that this is the only way and the best way, whilst another coach will do it slightly different. Some my coaches in the past have done things slightly different. Doesn't mean they're all right and all wrong. They're just the way they're programming. Um, so yeah, there's better ways, there are good ways, there are different ways, and there's ways that you should enjoy.
Absolutely.
Bosh. What's your next one?
This one's a bit contradictory
Go
because
on.
it's something that is obviously effective. It's something that obviously helps as well. Um, but something that I've only ever really done on and off, most of the time off. But logging and tracking, especially food. Again,
Oh, mate, this is where my bias
beneficial.
comes in.
But so I'm not saying it's not beneficial because it is. I'm not saying it's not good for you because it is, but it's something that I hate that we have to do. Um, personally, so like for someone like me who's just like I just forget. I also do encourage people to do it as well,
Yeah.
but I just feel like it's something that's so tedious to have to do that I'm like, I just hate it. But what I do also find is with some people that are like me, that some people are meticulous and they'll do it once you teach them how to do it or how to do it well. Some people just see it as an additional thing that's just too hard for them that it makes them want to quit.
Mm.
They're like, I just want to get in the gym. I just want to eat healthy and get in the gym, which is absolutely fine. Personally, I got really good results without effort, and my body changed massively, and I looked incredible after a few years of training without ever tracking anything. So
Mhm.
that's why for me, I just don't really do it. But I know some people need that. Some people need that accountability, that knowing where they're at. But again, I just want to reiterate that it's something that is good. It is beneficial. It is important to know those statistics. But I just personally hate having to do it myself.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I swear by it. This is where me and Phil are very different. Like, I think it's an incredibly important aspect to progress for most of us. Um, Tracking food, being on point. There are times where, you know, you don't need to. Like, I don't track when I'm on holiday, or I'll have a week off tracking if I need to when I just can't, like, I need a break. Logging my lifts, I need to know if I'm getting stronger. For most people, they'll need to know that as well. Like, the approach, I would say your approach is still, you still can do it, but there's nothing really, I know you hate it as well. Yeah. But for most people, you need to be doing those things.
No, like I said, I do encourage everyone to do it,
Yeah. But
and I
just
do
don't
show.
follow
I
suit.
just don't follow suit. But I don't feel like I need to. You know, a couple of weeks in the gym.
When you get into a level where you're happy with your body composition, you can kind of wing it a little bit more, I would
Mm,
say. Where you are right now, you're happy. You haven't really got the physique goal like I need to build muscle, like I need to build a lot of muscle.
exactly
That
why
way
that
that's
is.
to be more accurate, or I need to know if I'm getting stronger, I need to log my lifts. You're just happy to coast at the moment. If feel like you fit a bit slimmer, you're going to eat a little bit more, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. What's your next one?
There's a few things. I've only got one or two more, but I think that ties in with the first one. Shit coaches tarnishing the way people think about how coaching works. At the beginning,
Mhm.
when people just start saying they're an online coach, not knowing the systems, not knowing how to really support someone. Coaching is actually coaching people, not just telling them there's a meal plan and here's your steps and cardio, and training. And then when people have a really bad coach, they think, oh, this is what online coaching is, and then it just puts a bad name on all of the good coaches.
Mhm.
So this is where I feel like it needs to be regulated. But I feel like we've gone through that. We've said unrealistic expectations. I think we've put that down to a lot of people might be on steroids, and that's an unrealistic expectation. And then when someone does the same amount of time and is nowhere near what that level is, they're like, "Why? There's something wrong with the coaching?" No, it's real. We need to set more realistic expectations. Muscle takes a long time to build. If you're a natural bodybuilder or natural athlete,
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that people think that they can just, don't get me wrong, my 8 week program and my 12-week program that I'm doing now, people are going to get incredible results and have done in the past of fat loss. You can drop a lot of body fat.
Mhm.
But when it comes to building muscle, fuck me, it takes long.
Definitely. And just going off what you just said a minute ago, yeah. Again, don't take this the wrong way,
Uh,
but you spoke about unrealistic expectations and stuff, yeah.
yeah,
This isn't anything to do with the PEDs, but I feel like not so much now, but I'd say like 2 or 3 years ago, there was just a big trend of everyone thinking that if you go gym, you need to train to compete, to like get on stage,
yeah,
which for some people it's good because it sets you a goal. And I feel like when it comes to me and the weight training, like I always say this on all our podcasts, I exercise really hard, I train really hard. I take on other aspects of fitness and exercise, football, boxing, weight training as well, running. Um, but why I sort of fell out of love with weight training because I didn't really have a goal to aim for. So like I got to the best I ever did, and I was like, I've kind of like got there now.
yeah,
So I do get that it gives you that that thing to aim for when weight training, but the unrealistic expectation side of things just had everyone thinking that to be a competent coach or personal trainer, you have to go on stage, or which I get that that also does benefit you because you learn how to coach people in that kind of way as well. But then what I also saw was, again, not to discredit anyone's hard work, not to make anyone feel bad about their achievements, but there was also people who spent a lot of time, made themselves feel absolutely shit, lost a lot of money, being sold a dream that they're stage ready when they had no business even thinking about looking at their stage yet. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that's the thing I didn't like about that little period, which, like I said, I don't see it too much anymore. But there are people being sold dreams by coaches, making them believe that, yeah, right, do this, pay this much, we're going to get you stage ready. They'd be slogging themselves around the gym, no energy, starved themselves, and they look no better than a 16-year-old kid that's never been in the gym.
yeah, yeah,
And so when it's like they should have just been set a realistic expectation or a real time-bound goal and said, right, look, this ain't for now. This is for 5 years when you're there. Does that make sense?
yeah, 100%. I think yeah, the unrealistic expectation of what you can achieve and can't achieve. Like coaches saying you can do this when really they, yeah. So I think I saw that on a Q&A with one of my favorite bodybuilders the other week. Is that similar type of like chat that you've just mentioned? Is people putting coaches putting clients through stage prep when they're nowhere near ready?
Mhm.
And I see quite a few. I've seen a few females on my Instagram that they're very close to doing the PCA this month. I think it's next week, and I'm like, oh my god, like there's nothing there. Like there's literally nothing there. Like I don't think that probably was the best decision. And just be honest and go, you need to train harder for. But no one likes that idea. No one goes. No one wants to hear you need 2 years off and to grow muscle. They want to go. They
Yeah,
just want to
yeah,
do it now. It's
yeah.
very, very
Uh,
difficult.
That's exactly my point was like people not being given a realistic goal or time-bound goal and being told realistically, this is when you're gonna have to do that by, even though they might not like that. Because
Mm.
then that also, yeah, I just didn't like seeing how shit 90% of the gym was feeling because they're all like, right, we're all competing, and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're not.
Um, my last point to wrap up. Yeah.
That was my last one.
Yeah. This is my last one. Uh, I feel sometimes, and this is not a bad thing at all, but back in the day, right now we offer a lot for coaching. I think good coaches offer a lot to clients. You got the education, you can have like that one-to-one chat, the check-ins, the phone calls whenever you needed it. If you need to jump on a call, the data collection, all this type of stuff that the things that good coaches can teach you is phenomenal. Back in the day, and people are still not like video for analysis as well. Sending videos to your coach to make sure you're absolutely smashing it. What you have access to now as a coach for a client and what you can get from a coach is phenomenal. Back in the day, it was just an email once a week with attached files of faxing over some photos and going, all right, I need you to eat this amount this week and this, and this. And people got in phenomenal shape. Nowadays, I think some people expect so much from the coach to the point where, hang on a minute. Back in the day, that people got in phenomenal shape from just a fucking one email per week and some photos, and then just going, right, eat this and do this amount of
Mhm.
cardio and this amount of steps. So I think the pressure for coaches to know everything at this moment, like, you know, the anatomy, obviously you need to have some form of anatomy knowledge, but like physio stuff, doctor stuff, stress, psychological mindset, training, dietitian stuff. Like there's so much that I think that puts pressure on coaches to be as good as they can. Whilst back in the day, it really was here's that and here's that. So it's like, are the expectations of coaches too high now to what clients feel they should be getting? Does that make sense?
It's almost as if like the clients want the coach to even be lifting the weights for them at this point.
Yes, yes. So some people can feel like too. I've cancelled coaching with some people and said, look, this is just it's obviously not working right now because I can't force you into the gym. I can't force you to do this. I can't force you to do that. There's an expectation. I had someone 2 years ago, and I've got a screenshot of it going. he made no change in 3 months, and I was going, what's going on? Like, and he finished, and I said, look, I'm obviously couldn't make anything more. And I said, he goes, well, I did expect to turn into, I expected to get an incredible transformation as soon as I paid you. And
Mm.
I replied back going, but mate, you haven't done any of this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You've done none. You've done about 15% of the training. You've checked in twice in 14 weeks. I've got
And then they'll
hardly any
blame the fact,
data.
and they'll blame the fact that you didn't motivate them enough to make them want to
Yeah.
get into the gym. But it's like I've told you, this to achieve your goal, you need to do this.
Yeah.
It's up to you to go and do it at the same time as well.
That was it. He was like, I expected a transformation by now. And then I said, well, I haven't got any of this. What did you expect? And he goes, well, as soon as I paid for you, I would expected the transfer. As soon as I paid, I thought I'd get this transformation. And I was like, you can't correlate paying a coach to getting an instant transformation without doing anything that I needed, like barely anything I needed you to do. So, no, I think
Thought the
there's a lot.
money hitting your bank account would mean abs would start to grow.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of expectation, and some clients. I think I've got so many good clients that are putting in hard work. Photo shoot clients. I've got people on photo shoots at the moment putting in graft. I've got non-people on photo shoots, not photo shoots, putting in loads of graft. I've got bulking clients. They're all doing phenomenal. Some people may think that they need so much to get a
Mm.
transformation, where it's like, no, just toughen up a bit and do the basics.
100%.
Uh, I think we'll wrap up on that, shall we?
Yes, mate. I quite enjoyed that because it's a little bit different to what we usually like delve into. But
Yes, mate. I really
I
enjoyed
feel like mine and your points were both really similar.
it. Mm.
Like so, all in all, there's actually not too much to not like about the industry apart from everything about it. Like,
The industry's great. I love the industry. There's a few ranty stuff. I think that's our most ranty podcast we've ever done. But I think that's good to get what's on our mind, what we think. And I don't know, hopefully you can take some stuff from it from any listeners that are currently listening. I mean, or you just listen to me and feel rant about the industry pretty much.
mm.
Um, yeah, so I think we'll finish it there. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. And we will see
Yeah,
you
guys.
on the next episode.